Good evening. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Anonymous Live. We will be here for the next couple hours listening to anonymous callers. This is a very different place than you might be used to on this channel. So different, in fact, that there are some announcements in store for this stream that will forever determine the future of the project. We have a new channel for this stream. It is high time we move this stream to its own channel because it is the most consistent thing I've ever done on YouTube. We're going to take a second to allow people to get into the stream before I really hit this and promote this. But for those of you who are already here, there is a link in the video description at the top of the description. You might need to refresh your browser because I just added the link. If you are not seeing the link to the new Anonymous Live YouTube channel, refresh your browser. You will see it at the top of the video description. This is the future home of this stream. I will take a second before I say any more, so no one will miss anything. We'll just chill here for a second. But welcome, and I'm going to pour some water and allow people some time to get in here. There are way more seeds in my lemon water tonight than I would have wanted. But I guess I'm going to become a lemon garden by the end of tonight. I will be growing lemons out my ears. I used a strainer and everything, and somehow there are at least 6 lemon seeds in here. I guess I was going too fast. It's all right. If you are new here, this is a very different kind of place. This is a place where we're going to be listening to anonymous callers for about 2 hours. I don't know who's calling or what they're going to talk about. The only thing that we ask is that you remain completely anonymous. We do this not because it's popular. This is not entertainment. This is not entertaining. This is, in fact, the hardest thing that I do. This project requires so much from me and the mods here. And it is getting easier each week. It is getting, it's getting easier, and then also like certain things surprise us. But so far as the stream is concerned, the stream is pretty simple to maintain. There is a Discord server that is an extrapolation of this project. It's completely free to use. And the link is in the video description. If you're just joining, I was plugging the brand new Anonymous Live channel that we will be using from here on out. This is the very last time that this stream will be appearing on my channel. There are a couple of reasons for that. I'm going to take a second here to explain why, because I shouldn't even need to explain why. This channel is a comedy channel, for crying out loud. It's a comedy channel. I don't know who said this quote. Tragedy loves comedy. But it's a very true quote. Comedy is hand in hand with the best thing you can. It's kind of like saying tragedy loves comedy is kind of a way of saying like you make lemons from lemonade. You make lemonade from lemons. You get lemons. You make lemonade. And this project is a very special place to me. In many ways, it is like the most concentrated point of this channel, but it doesn't belong here. It never did, and yet when I came back from years away from YouTube, this was the biggest thing on my mind to sink my heart into, and I couldn't think of a better place to host it than on my own, on this main channel here. Of course, I have a couple of other channels on YouTube, but the point is, it is high time now at episode 73 that this be the last episode that premieres here on my main channel, which is devoted to comedy. My main channel is devoted to making people laugh, and this stream is not about laughter. Yeah, we laugh sometimes. In fact, like, the laughter is the best part. When we're able to laugh at the crazy things that happen in life, these are the best moments of this stream. But this stream is not about making light of things. This stream is about being real and candid and honest. And so it is high time that we move this stream to a completely specific channel. And that's what we're doing. So we have the link in the video description. We are going to need moving. I'm going to take a second here because this is a big move. Here's why. This stream has never been popular on my channel. I sink nothing but money and time into this project and receive no returns. I don't lose extraordinary amounts of money on this project, but I do nothing but lose money on this project. Every month I'm pouring a little bit into this project. It doesn't take a whole lot from me, but it takes from me every month. I never receive returns from this project. I'm taking some time here before we accept calls. Some calls are coming in, but I'm taking some time to explain this move, and I hope it makes sense. We are going to need so much support for this new YouTube channel, because this new YouTube channel will not bring in anything. It won't bring in anything. On the current setup, it brings in maybe like $50 a month. Maybe. I don't even know the exact amount. Maybe it brings in $50 a month. But like, I'm pouring hundreds of dollars a month into it. So it's always a loss. The point is, we need so much support on this new YouTube channel because it will bring in this much every month, probably for the next year, because the requirements for a YouTube channel to become partnered and to participate in the partnership program to receive any dollars per month. So in other words, like, by moving it to another channel, I'm eating another $50, which isn't like crazy, but my point is, like, please subscribe because I believe in this project. I believe this project is important. And we've developed a big enough community here within the Discord server and on these streams that I believe this is a valuable thing. And it's never going to be popular, but it is, I believe, a very valuable thing. So we're going to need everybody's support to make this new YouTube channel happen. But it is a positive change. I'm so excited. So please subscribe there. If you're not involved in our Discord community, please get involved there. The Discord server, as I mentioned earlier, is completely free, and people are in there every day talking about, like, video games. They're talking about books they're reading. We have a book club channel. We have a food recipe channel. We have a completely anonymous confession channel. The entire server is not anonymous, but there is a specific channel where you can go in and say you can confess something completely anonymously. I don't know who's talking there. The mods and admins don't know who's talking there. So, anyways, that you get the gist. So this is the last stream that will happen here on my main channel, and I'm so excited. This is a positive change. We are also going to be working on, you will see in this new Anonymous Live YouTube channel, we're going to be doing cut downs of each call, which I think is going to be a very positive change, because now you will be able to go in there and search for specific topics, for specific challenges, and you don't have to listen to a 2 or 3 hour stream anymore to, hear something that is specific to your, or related to your situation. You can just browse through the channel based on topics and listen to a short call and hear someone share in a very real way, completely anonymously, about what they're going through. And I feel like this is going to be a very productive change. So that's why we're doing this. I hope everybody understands. So without prolonging the inevitable any longer, we're going to jump into some calls. And thank you guys for your support here. I have not looked at the chat at all. I also have not seen how many calls I've missed, but those are some announcements that are very important. It has been an amazing journey hosting these streams on my main channel here since March, and it's high time that we give this place the space it deserves on its own YouTube channel. So excited about that. We will need the entire community's support. So this is the first of many calls for people to subscribe there to the new channel. Lines are open, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, lines are open now. So we are ready to jump into some calls. A lot of announcements up at the top of this stream, but it's the name of the game. That's a big change. We're moving to a totally new channel. So I hope you guys understand. And we're going to jump into a call. Here we go. Hello, thanks for calling.
Hello. Hi, thank you for answering.
Are you a return caller?
Sorry, go ahead.
It looks like you're a
Hello?
return caller.
A return caller, yeah.
I don't mark that unless I have permission, so I'm guessing that we had a previous conversation where I asked you to call in before. I don't know who you are. I don't know your name, but all I know is that there's a pseudonym here that I can't quite decipher, and that leads me to believe that you were a return caller. So where do we pick up from?
Yeah, I think the last time I called, I can't remember what stream it was, but I wanted to call about mostly a positive update, but I guess I'll give a little bit of a synopsis first. I think the last time I called, I talked about my sister, and we don't have a good relationship, and I wasn't able to talk with her, and I was kind of talking about how to accept that and be okay with kind of the boundary that she was setting with me. And I just wanted to update and say that, well, things are a lot better. And,
good.
Yeah, I have a little bit of communication with her, not anywhere close to what I want it to be at, but it's a start, and so it's good. And I think I understand her more too. I don't really know. I don't have to get into it, that part, but I do understand her. I feel like I understand her more, and I guess all I want to say about that is just she didn't explain anything to me, but she did mention one thing about it, and that kind of got me to thinking that I don't even think that she may understand why she's had to set these boundaries with me, but she just knows that she has to, and it's really it was really good for me to kind of realize that in that conversation, and it was a very unexpected kind of thing. I was shocked to get her on the phone kind of thing, so I didn't know what we were going to talk about. And so to hear her say what she said was very, I guess it affected me, and it helped me sort of realize and think on my own that I just have to be a little bit more patient, and I can totally move forward with what I'm getting now, which is just a little bit of communication with her. Just the fact that there is a small improvement there is a win in my book. And so mostly it's a positive update. Things are also moving forward with me. I can't remember if I said this the last call, but I kind of suffered from home displacement. I think in my last call, you might remember this, because we kind of joked about how I said I called 5 times total, and you were like, wow, that was a long time. That's a lot of calls. And then at the end of the call, I said, oh, yes, well, I'll be calling you in 3 weeks, something like that. And
so what did we talk about? You seem to be one of our top return callers. I don't know who you are. All I know is that I don't know when I marked you with this pseudonym. And just to be clear, the only pseudonym I gave you was return caller question mark. When you called in, I saw return caller question mark. I don't know who you are. Can you jog our memory on what you called about? You've already shared a little bit, but what's your story?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess because my calls have been about a lot of different things. I think what I'm guessing is that the last time I called was probably when you put a note in. I think that was the first time I talked about being a return caller. Maybe not the first time, but maybe just the first time it turned into a bit more of the conversation. And so I don't think all of my calls are linked, if that makes sense. Like,
Okay.
they were kind of about different things. The first time I called you was like back. I actually don't even want to say when, because I don't want people to necessarily try to
No,
link
yeah,
them.
it's totally cool. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, but it was a while ago, and it was about something completely different than what my last call was about. I guess the similarities there were, it was usually about family. I know it was about home displacement and not having my own place. And right now, as far as that situation goes, I still don't have my own place, but in a way I do, because the place that I'm staying at now, I'm allowed to stay here, and they are okay with me staying here until I can find my own place. And things are moving forward where that might happen. I mean, I don't know when, but because one of the other things I mentioned that I struggle with is panic disorder, and that's another thing too. That's a very positive update that I didn't think I would be saying anytime soon. Is my panic attacks have like almost disappeared completely. And
amazing.
The one, yeah.
I'm applauding you on that. What did it take?
Thank you. Well, it took a lot of work and patience, and almost a kind of accepting that it's okay if they don't go away. And like I said, they've almost completely gone away, but that's kind of being a little extra hopeful, because I don't really think that they will go away forever. I think I will suffer from panic attacks my whole life. And I think a little bit of the improvement comes from accepting that and being okay with it. Because in a way, when I have the panic attacks that I do have, and I used to have a panic attack at least once a day for the past 3 years. Since 2019, wow. I would have a panic attack at least once a day, and some days it was like 2 or 3. And I would say that it took me this long to kind of like get a hold on it, because I didn't really accept it at first. I tried to fight the panic attack and fight the anxiety and say, you don't have a reason to be here, go away, in my mind, and that doesn't work. Spoiler alert for anyone who suffers from panic attacks. That does not work. You have to accept that you're going through it, and you have to let it pass on its own time. And they would last from, the shortest one would be like a few seconds, or not a few seconds, but like 30 seconds to a minute. They could be a few minutes long. They could be hours long. Sometimes you don't know. And I think, so part of it came from me accepting that's what I was going through, and that's what I would be going through for a long time. And then part of it was medication, management with medication. I'm taking a medicine that I never thought I would have to take. I don't want to tell which one. I'll just get that out of the way up front.
Okay.
Don't want to tell which one, but
yeah. It
works for me. And I am I've been on the medication not too long, not less than 6 months. And it's already been a significant difference that I've been able to improve my life in ways that I never thought I would. And I didn't even I'm doing all of this without even reading the books that you recommended me. You've recommended me so many books, and I'm like, I need to read those. Those will help me, and I know that they still will help me. So I'm like, very excited for the other improvements that are heading my way, because I know when I get those books, that I will be improving in ways that I probably never imagined. Just like, yeah, getting a little sidetracked, but kind of to go back to the panic attacks being managed, I do think the medication had a lot to do with it. I think just being more open about what I'm going through and having the people that I talk to kind of accept what I'm going through and not necessarily understand it, but at least believe me. That has a lot to do with it. Is I have people in my life that believe me, and then even still have just a few people that very much understand what I go through. It's their experience as well, and to have someone to relate to just is a big help for me with the way that I work. I need to talk about it. So that's one thing.
That's
And
amazing.
Yeah, there was one other thing I was going to say that helped with it. I can't remember right now in this moment, but it's good things. And the only thing that is like still something that right now is like not 100% perfect, and I know the world is not perfect ever, but that for me is just like I hope that I can continue this path that I'm on instead of like get like jumbled and get like pushed off the path and like go back. That's the only thing that's like I do still worry about that, but I'm hopeful, and yeah, I really wanted to give a positive update. I don't know if there's anything else I can say to like kind of help connect my last call, because I don't mind the last one being connected. I just further than that just is what makes me nervous. But I'm not sure if I should say something else. I just remember the last call being mostly about my sister, and I even remember you telling me things that I didn't understand, and I was like, I don't know if I should like go with that advice, or not that you were giving advice, but that like your input
probably
on it.
talking out of my
I'm not
ass.
sure. No. Well,
That's all I do. That's what I'm paid to do, is talk out of my ass. No, don't get me wrong. Like let me be clear. I'm remembering like certain aspects of what you're talking about, but I can't. You mentioned you've called in 5 times roughly. I don't remember that. Like I don't know when we talked or what you're talking about. You've touched on some things that are popular. Popular is the worst word. They're common themes here. Things like panic disorder, things like family boundaries, displacement from a home. These are things that come up here all the time. So I don't know who you are. I don't know when you called. I don't know what books we talked about, but I am thinking of a couple of books. Maybe I'm thinking probably one of them was one that we talked about based on the description you're giving about trauma. But there's a new one that I've been reading in the last month that is blowing my mind, that I would love the chance to plug to you. And I'm wondering, was one of the books that we talked about by chance The Body Keeps the Score?
Oh, no, I don't think we mentioned that one.
Which books did we talk about?
I know for sure. The first one you ever mentioned to me was Atomic Habit.
Okay, it's a great book.
And that was, I was at a different part. The first time I ever called, I was at a way different part of my life. I thought I still needed to improve in many ways, but I thought the path was clear, and I kind of got jumbled off of that path, which probably why I worry that it's going to happen again, and I'm a little nervous about it. But things are they're a lot different than what they were when I first called. So,
I'm not sure.
Most likely it's just going to be different. But I'm trying to remember the other book is it was I can't remember. It wasn't about, I know there's like a topic that's covered a lot is narcissism, and I don't think it was about that.
Should I
I
stay or
know
should
I
I
wrote
go, or
them down.
psychopath free?
Yeah, wait, so maybe, okay, yeah, that was it. That was one. Should I stay
Okay.
or should I go? And then I think you were recommending that as a way, I believe you were recommending it as a way for me to understand what my sister was going through, of like how
Mm.
she wanted to, that basically she's the one asking, should I stay or should I go? And she was
Mm.
basically choosing to go.
Mm.
And,
Interesting.
you know,
Yeah, I don't remember this.
yeah.
What was your
I just,
what was your
yeah.
trauma like? What kind of trauma did you experience, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, one of the calls I remember mentioning some of this is, I mean, it wasn't, I guess I don't really know 100%, but of everything, but what I do know is like I had to deal with a little, like, I don't like the way I'm trying to word this, I'm sorry, but I dealt with abuse, when I was a kid, and it was, some of it was my mom, some of it my dad, but then some of it was my brother too, where he was left in charge of looking after me and the rest of the siblings, and he didn't really know how to do that, and so he would react, by hurting me and just being not fun to be around and throwing things at me and that type of stuff. And I I've pretty much come to terms with that. Like, me and my brother have talked before about this happening, and I don't think he ever like apologized, or maybe he did, and maybe it just was such a, like, okay, like I remember moving past that. In a way, it still affects my life in ways that I
Mm-hmm.
don't like, but as far as how I feel towards my brother, I don't hold any resentment about that towards him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that was my life. I guess, kind of my whole life I've just been taken in. Like, I've had my friends' families take me in and care for me in a way that a parent should be caring. And I lost my dad at a young age. I was 17 when I lost my dad. And so at that point, that's basically when I started to be taken in to other families. Because I had a stepmom, but she sort of, I lost her in a different way because she was very much in love with my dad, and when she lost him, it just was too much for her, and she couldn't take care of all of us, and didn't really understand that herself, I don't think. So I don't even speak with her anymore. But I I've been successful on my own, somewhat in my 20s. I know I haven't mentioned my age yet, but I'm in my 30s. Um, and so I was successful in my 20s, somewhat, like, independent. I mean, like, I was taking care of myself, paying my own bills, and having a job and all that stuff. But then around 2017, I guess, is when things started to go downhill for me. Or actually, to be honest, it probably was 2016. Saying it out loud, I'm remembering, because I lost my mom in 2016. And when I was 17 and I lost my dad, that was processed by me. Like, I processed. I
Mm-hmm.
went through the grieving process. Um, you know, for anyone who has to deal with that, it's different for everyone. But for me, I would just cry every night. It was just a routine that I would cry right before bed. And I did that, I think, for exactly a year. And then exactly a year later, I just didn't feel the need to cry anymore. And I also kind of have a little bit of dark humor, so I would make jokes about it sometimes. And that was a way for me to talk about it in front of my friends. And they knew that I didn't mean it any harm in the jokes I was saying, kind of thing. I know some people don't like that kind of stuff, but
Right.
yeah, but as far as my mom passing away, I still haven't completely processed that. There's a lot different. situation. And
Right.
yeah, and so that I haven't actually talked about those specifics yet. I do know that because I'm a return caller, I don't really want to stay on the line too long. I want to leave room for other people to call and things like that. But yeah, mostly I just wanted this to be a positive update and say, like, things are still hard, but I am processing through things, and I am very, I know I guess I haven't mentioned this before yet, but I would, and I feel a little awkward about just saying this without any kind of warning, but I know this is the place for this kind of thing. But I also suffer from like suicide ideation, and that was a really big thing. That was also an everyday thing for me. And now it is like the last 3 weeks, I've only thought about that one time, and usually it was every day. And so I'm hoping that me saying all this stuff can be sort of a positive, like, outlook for anyone else going through this kind of thing. Like, your journey is not going to look like mine, but it can still be a journey, and you can get through it. So yeah, that's what I really wanted my call to be today. But so thank you so much for listening, and yeah, I don't know what else to say, but yeah, just thank you.
Thank you for calling and being real. Happy to continue offering this forum to you to share. That's what we're here to do. I'm not sure why it is. If I can just spend a minute or two, I also want to open up the lines to new callers. I appreciate you offering that to us. Of course, you can call again anytime. I continually tell people that. But I want to spend like at least 2 minutes here saying a couple things. First of all, I don't know why it is, because I don't remember our calls. I don't know who you are. I don't remember why it was that we were talking about books about narcissism. But from your story now, hearing the way you're putting it now, a couple of books are coming to mind. A book that I read many years ago called The Body Keeps the Score. It's called The Body Keeps the Score: Mind, Brain, and Body in the Transformation of Trauma. It's written by Bessel van der Kolk. I trust I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'll put the link in the video description. I'll put a link in the chat for you so you don't have to make a note. Here it is.
Okay.
It's a great book. The title says everything. And I'm thinking of another book that I'm reading right now that I haven't finished. It's this next book I'm about to mention is it's nearly 700 pages. So read it with caution. Yeah. It's not an easy read. It's written by Gabor Mate, who is a clinical psychologist. This guy is he's in his 80s now. He's probably going to retire soon. He's a legend. He's written, I don't know how many books, but this book of his I'm reading right now is called The Myth of Normal: Trauma, Illness, and Healing in a Toxic Culture. And this book is blowing my mind. I'm not going to go into why, but I'm going to put the Goodreads link into the chat for you, so you don't have to write it down. There it is for you. I'll give you like 10 seconds on why it's blowing my mind. This guy has a completely contrarian stance on trauma and on psychological diagnoses like ADHD, PTSD, things like this, even autism. Actually, I'm just to be clear, I'm not sure he weighs in on autism on this book. I haven't finished the book, but I know for sure he talks about PTSD, ADHD, and things like this that are like kind of developmental, kind of like things that people develop. They're not necessarily born with, but they develop them. And he has a very contrarian stance on treating them as someone who was an MD for for like 2 or 3 decades. He was just an MD, like prescribing pills and things. And then he kind of came to this stance in recent years. It's very contrarian, which is like, look, people develop these things because of trauma. People develop things like ADHD and PTSD from trauma, and we can treat these traumatic experiences with more than just pills, and they're much more effective than just giving someone a pill. And that's what this book is about. So I hope that's at least interesting to you. I'm not telling you to buy it, but you can read the Goodreads link and decide if it's something you want to sink your teeth into. It's 700 pages almost, so I'm not taking that lightly. It's not an easy read, but it is blowing my mind right now, and I haven't finished it yet, but I'm excited to. Appreciate you calling back and giving us some kind of positive update. You can call again anytime. No such thing as too many calls here. That's what we're here for. So thanks for using this place the way you are, and call again anytime.
Thank you so much for that book recommendation. I'll definitely take that into account, and I will call again when I need to. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone.
Same to you. Good night. Take care. All right, chat. Lines are opening again. Always great to hear a positive update. I'm just here drinking lemon seeds. I don't know how the lemon seeds crept into my water tonight, but they did. I guess I was squeezing the lemons too quickly. I guess I missed the strainer a couple times. I got some lemon seeds in my water. It's all right. I'm a regular lemon garden now. We got some spam in the chat tonight. We got some bots. The mods have been on it. We have welcomed a few new mods here recently in the last couple weeks. We are welcoming Ray Mag. Also in our Discord server, we've elevated a couple of mods. We have a inside joke in the Discord channel called Please Help, which you would not be able to appreciate if you've already missed the inside joke. If you've already missed the original inception of the joke, you're out of the joke. It won't make sense to you ever, but it's one of the best jokes. You might be able to catch up if you join the Discord soon, but it is... Please Help is hilarious. There is Please Help merch coming soon that is hilarious. I die laughing whenever I see Please Help. Nobody understands what I'm talking about. Nobody. Well, no one understands Please Help unless you get it. Please Help is hilarious. Wait till you see the t-shirt. The t-shirt people will buy, but they have no idea why they're buying it. I'll put it that way. There is going to be a Please Help t-shirt coming soon because the inside joke is so funny. But very few will understand and appreciate the original inception of Please Help. It was completely accidental, if that clears it up at all. It was completely it's like one of those things. It's a very Gen Z joke. An accident becomes a joke. Someone was cropping too fast, and then Please Help was born. That's Please Help. Hilarious. All right, lines are open. Sometimes we chill here for a second. It's no problem. Anyone can call in for any reason. We just ask that you remain completely anonymous. If you are a first-time caller, please press 1 at the on the phone menu when you first call in, just to like listen to the instructions. We're gonna chill here. I'll chill here with the chat. There's no problem. But if you are a first-time caller, we don't want to hang up on you. I will hang up on you if you call in and mention a name or a location. It's the hardest part of this stream. It's the only thing I have in my arsenal to protect your anonymity. I don't want to hang up on you. I also don't want you to say something you might regret in a few years from now. And so if you mention a name or a location, I'm going to toast you. I'm going to hang up on you. But we welcome people who are toasted to call back. In fact, I know people have called back after being toasted, and we've had great conversations with people like that. I don't know who I've talked with that was toast. I don't know when they were toasted, the people who've called back, but we've had plenty of people call in and say like, "Hey, you toasted me before. I'm going to try to be very careful now." And it never ceases to amaze me how a conversation can develop out of that kind of anonymity. And that's what we offer people here. This place isn't popular. It's not entertainment. It's not entertaining. This is the best way I know to describe this place is it's an anonymous listening circle or an anonymous support group. It's like it's not quite as good as a support group, because a support group, it's like in person, and you're developing relationships with people in real life. But like it's like an online support group that's completely anonymous / an anonymous listening circle, free of judgment. We do these streams twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at night. We do it at an unpopular time of night to stream intentionally, because we want people to be at home, not at work. We don't want people to be like calling in while they're at a desk or something. We want people to call in while they're like alone in the privacy of their home and their thoughts, and to just talk. And that's why we do these streams at such an unpopular time of night. It's actually funny. I recently did a poll on YouTube. What were the results of this poll? I'm curious. About 25% of people said they would come to Anonymous Live if they would participate in these streams if it wasn't so late at night. This was actually the most popular response to this poll, excluding the joke option I gave. I did a poll on YouTube saying, I would participate in Anonymous Live if, and then there were 4 options. Option number 1, if it wasn't so depressing / boring, which is like something I wasn't trying to be negative. I was just saying, like, I fully recognize this is a comedy channel and like people might not understand what we're doing here. So I made that the first option. Second option was if it didn't stream so late at night. And this was, in my perception, my opinion, the most popular response. It got 25% of the response. The third one was if Julian were actually expert in something and could help people. That one got 9%. And then the fourth option was if I wasn't a sociopath, and that got 44%. But I'm assuming 44% of my respondents were not sociopaths, because that would be astronomical. That would be like, there's no more than 15% of the world are sociopaths, according to studies on this. So that would mean like all of my followers are sociopaths, if that were true. I'm assuming people were just laughing. So the point is, like, we're doing this late at night. Some calls are coming in. You guys get the point. Here we go. We're going to jump right back in. Hello. Thanks for calling.
Hello?
Hello. Thanks for calling. How are you tonight?
I'm good. So I'm supposed to give you a difficult experience I had, correct?
Yeah, can we start with your age and a brief intro?
Oh, I'm 22, and I have a story I would like to tell about when I took my road test.
Great. We only ask no names, no locations. We will hang up on you if you do that for your own good. I don't want to hang up on you, but try to just be very careful not to mention a name or a location.
Okay. So I was 16, and it's my first road test I was taking, and I was making a couple errors here and there, and as I was driving, this woman like almost like hit my car, and was she was I like turned and looked, and I was like looking at I think she was trying to ask me if I was taking my road test, and I was like super confused and everything, and like the driving instructor was just like, just keep going. So I kept going, and then she almost hit me again, and then the driving instructor was like, pull over. So I pulled over, and then she gets out of her. On top of the fact, I've never seen this woman in my life before. So I pulled over, and the instructor gets out of my car, and she gets out of her car, and she's like, I've seen you outside my house before. You're stalking me. And I was like, I can't believe this is happening during my road test. And so the instructor called the cops. He said wherever we were, and she drove away, and then, I failed my road test after that.
So
And that's the end.
you got falsely accused of stalking someone.
I guess so. I've never seen the woman ever in my life before, and the cops didn't even follow up. I think the driving instructor said that he thinks that she had like some mental disorder or something.
Yeah. Well, sounds.
I'm sorry if you don't have anything to say after that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not here to say things. I'm here to listen and be a sounding board.
Oh.
The chat, and the chat's going to be a sounding board. I can't give you advice. But yeah, it sounds like. I mean, from at least from your description, you seem very calm, and I don't get the sense that you're just calling in here anonymously to get validation. I mean, what good would that do for you? So I'm sensing that there's something here that you were falsely accused of stalking someone, and it's confusing. That sounds confusing.
It is. I was just in disbelief that this was happening when it happened.
Mm-hmm. What did you feel I mean, it sounds like it's been some time since this happened, but what did you feel when these false allegations came about? Sounds like this was a pretty big deal for you.
Yeah, I was just feeling like, why did it have to happen to me? Why did it happen on my road test? And why did it happen the first time I was taking my road test? I mean, this doesn't happen to everyone. I mean, come on. I was just trying to get my license, okay?
Yeah, somebody else, which is the name of someone from the chat, says to you, strange people do strange things, simple as. Maybe that's an explanation for my entire YouTube channel. But, I'm resonating with what they're saying. It's like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make this about me. I'm just trying to make I'm trying to make jokes, because jokes do kind of lighten the air in this stream. I try not to make it super heavy. But the point is, like, yeah, I mean, it sounds like someone was really paranoid, and they were going through their own experience, and you got accused of some things that you didn't do, and it really freaked you out for some time. How are you doing? How did you get through that?
I kind of just, I mean, I was young, so I kind of just dusted it off. I told, I put it on my Snapchat story that some lady started chasing after my car during my road test, and I don't know, no one really had anything to say about it, but I kind of just went on, and I was just like, maybe I'll pass the second time or something like that.
So did you pass the driver's test?
I did not. I think I already failed before she even almost hit me.
You're 22 now. Can you drive?
Oh, yeah. I passed it when I was like 16.
Okay, so you did
I
get through
passed on
it.
Yeah, I did. I didn't pass the first, during the incident. I had to take the test another time.
You think you didn't pass because all this stuff was getting in the way?
Probably. It definitely didn't help.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I've been in situations like that where there's like some adjacent variable that shouldn't be responsible for a result, and yet it inevitably proves to be a variable. And what do we do about those things? Well, we just do the best we can. We try again. You tried again. You got through it. The question I have is like, what is it that? I mean, this is now several years later. You're in your 20s now. So what is it that is still lingering in your mind about that experience that prompted you to call tonight?
Well, honestly, this is my first time watching Anonymous live. So I'm very, very new. My first time calling into a podcast or show. So, thank you. Well, to be honest with you, I didn't think you would actually answer my call, so this is a little exciting for me. I'm talking to Julian Smith, but I'm trying to figure out how to say this.
Well, you didn't just call in here to tell me that you didn't get your driver's license on time. This is something that you've thought about it, clearly.
Yeah. Well,
so what is it?
Well, I kind of just, because I listened to the robot. It said give an experience, a hard experience, and that was the first thing that came to my head is that time during my road test. Because that is by far like the weirdest thing that has ever happened to me in my life. So that's kind of what prompted me to call.
So let's try to turn this into some kind of positive spin. I mean, like you're talking about a very strange experience with someone who may have been out of their mind or out of sorts, at least a little bit, and accused you of doing some things, and you failed the first time. You've been I would say it's a very charitable description you've given, considering that you didn't blame this person entirely for the fact that you failed the test. You didn't blame them for that. You just said, like, it didn't help, for sure. At least it didn't help.
Yeah.
It's a very charitable description, in my opinion. So I'll ask the question, what did you do to put that aside? Like, when you went back to take the test, there must have been some nerves that it wasn't going to work out or that you might fail again. So how did you put that aside? What did you do to successfully pass the test?
I definitely practice more on the road. Practice makes perfect, you know what I'm saying?
That helps. Perfect practice makes perfect. I don't know who said that, but that's a great quote.
Yeah. I just
sounds like you practice perfectly.
I just try not to think about it, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I was just really hoping it wasn't going to happen again, and thank God it didn't.
Vince Lombardi is who said that. Practice does not make perfect. Practice does not make perfect. Only perfect practice makes perfect. And that's what I'm suggesting you did.
Oh, you know, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the thought is that practice requires discipline, which I agree with. You can't just practice.
Yeah.
It's got to be disciplined. So yeah, I hope that tidbit is helpful for anybody listening here. Sometimes we go through things in life, and there's there are these adjacent variables that influence our situation in negative ways, and the best thing we can do is just like, yeah, I'm a big fan of breath work. If I'm overwhelmed or there are things clouding my thought, just breathing, breath. I'm constantly trying to teach my kids about breath work. I think like not enough. I don't think enough people talk about breathing because what is stress? Stress is like you're just like choking on your own lack of air. Like when you just can. I'm a big fan of the. I often hear I talk about the 5-5-5 breathing method in times of like when you're feeling out of control or like things are slipping through your fingers. In order to just make like, let me be clear. Breathing can't like fix your finances. They can't fix your. It can't. You know, that's probably the best example. Like breathing can't fix your finances, but breathing can help your mental state, which can help your finances. That's a very simple. That's one example that I hope is extrapolatable, which I'm not sure is a word, but I'm going to make it one to all kinds of different arenas and problems. Breathing is so powerful, and I don't think enough people talk about it. It's just like I talk a lot here about the 5-5-5 breathing method. Inhale 5 seconds by nose, hold 5 seconds, exhale 5 seconds by mouth. 5-5-5 is the easiest to remember, but really my favorite is the 4-7-8 method. It's a little harder to remember, 4-7-8. So I don't talk about that one as much, but 4-7-8 is really my favorite. Inhale 4 seconds by mouth. Sorry, by nose. Inhale 4 seconds, like real quick. Hold 7 seconds. Exhale 8 seconds by mouth. That stuff will change your entire mental state, change your entire perspective on what is going on. It can pull you through all kinds of things. Again, I'm not pretending these things can fix very concrete things like relationships or your finances or the things we're talking about, but like these things can help you remain lucid, remain coherent, remain present, and not clouded by external factors. Breathing, and people don't talk about this enough. So I spend maybe too much time talking about breathing, but I'm glad to hear that you pulled yourself through that. This is like, in some ways, this is kind of like a positive update. Even though you're a first-time caller, you're kind of like lamenting a bit about a situation that has confused you, and then also sharing a positive update, which is that you made it through it. So we all applaud you, and I hope that these tidbits are helpful to someone out there. And we thank you for calling. You can call again anytime if you're going through something else. Lines are always open to you.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for calling. Good night. Hello, thanks for calling.
Oh, hello?
Hello. Can we start with your
Hi.
age and a brief intro?
My age is 26, and I am struggling to get my life back in order. I feel like I'm surviving and not living.
All right. Surviving and not living. Well, it's great you're surviving. Congrats for that, at the very least.
Thank you.
What's the dealio?
So basically, I am close to 30, and my biggest passion in life has to be entertaining people. And I knew that was a strong passion of mine at an early age in high school. And I had that as like my designated, like, this is my career path. I want to be an actor. I want to be a comedian, improviser, whatever. And I followed that path, and I've done a lot with it, but I haven't done anything that I feel like is worthwhile to, like, my parents or my friends or anyone that I know. Like, I mean, I've done small things, I've done small roles, and, you know, things that are important to me and, you know, stepping stones, but nothing that is going to get me, you know, reasonable pay so that I can make a living. And I've had to work odd jobs. I've worked in all kinds of different places that are nowhere near my profession. And when COVID hit, it shut down my entertainment access. So the stand-up, the acting, all of it was removed. And my job, I also got furloughed from due to COVID. And that all kind of happened in a year in the midst of me trying to move closer to the entertainment options and everything else. And I was living with people, and I started failing to make ends meet with bills and everything else like that. And over the past year, I have just been struggling to maintain staying on top of the bills that I was able to pay with the job that I had previously and being able to go out and do all the things that I love, and now I can't do any of it. And I'm just stuck in a loop of working a basic paid job and not being able to do any of the things that I want to do because all I can focus on is making money.
What are you making money doing?
Currently,
no, don't tell us where you work if you can avoid it. No names of corporations or anything like that. Yeah.
Right now I currently do basically like ride sharing in a way. What I think you can kind of you figure out what I mean by that, but
yeah,
you know, and I mean I like it. You know, it pays somewhat well on certain days, and but I mean the real issue is that I basically have 3 jobs right now. I do one of those jobs that is free. I do another job that's like that is paid by the hour. And then I also do IT work, which is another passion of mine that was supposed to be my backup for if, you know, being funny or being on stage didn't plan out too well for me, that I could always do IT. But that job is contract work, and so the jobs come in based on when people need them, and it's not exactly reliable. So.
Right. So you're getting through a season where you're just doing what it takes to get to a season where, I mean, let's be honest, like, doing what you want to do is kind of, it's not even kind of, it's simply a luxury. It's just a luxury, being able to do what you want to do. It's also a tragedy of sorts, I would say, at least. Getting to do what you want to do for work is a luxury until it becomes a tragedy. Because this is like the same reason I usually have a camera strapped around my shoulder when I'm out with my kids or something. It's something I want to like take pictures of and remember. And people will ask, "Oh, are you a photographer?" And my answer is, "Oh, well, no, like just only as a hobby, because I don't want to. Photography is the only hobby I've not ruined with capitalism." Because it's true. It's like, I don't want to be paid as a photographer because I really like taking pictures. And the moment people start paying me to take pictures, it's just going to become this thing I have to do.
Absolutely.
So I hope it's clear where I'm going here, that like, I'm saying, like, I'm trying to reframe the mental space you're in a productive way to give you some kind of hope that there is more out there. And I believe there is. Like, I fully believe that we have to, like, people can let's celebrate a couple things. First and foremost, you're doing some ride sharing stuff to make ends meet. At least you're not forced to be a farmer. You know, a century ago, 2 centuries ago, that would have been pretty much the most likely option. You would have been forced into some kind of agricultural kind of situation where you're going to be like tilling the ground and like planting seeds and weeding the plants and making sure like you get your harvest. And like now we live in a world where people can drive people places and make a couple bucks on the side to make ends meet. That is pretty great. That is pretty great. So I'm trying to admittedly I'm not trying to be dismissive. I hope you understand that, because I fully understand, like, you have dreams and aspirations, but what I'm saying is, like, you are at the very least able to support yourself with something that it sounds like, as you said, you don't hate it, but that it's just like, it's a little bit of a grind. It's a grind. And I'm just saying, like, hey, you know, like, let's at least celebrate the small stuff here. Because the small stuff is small stuff for a reason. That's why we call them stepping stones. That's why we call them baby steps. We don't know how your life will look long term. You know, you can turn these baby steps into very powerful, meaningful endeavors. The book Atomic Habits. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that book, Atomic Habits. Are you familiar with that book?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay, great. Let's talk about this book for a second. I haven't talked about this book in a while. I'm gonna put a Goodreads link in the chat for you. You don't have to write anything down. You're not on a ride right now. You don't have a passenger. You're in the car. It sounds like you don't have a passenger in the back seat, do you? They're all listening to us.
No. No, I am in the car, but I literally just got done working, and I was watching a little bit and listening while I was driving, and I was like, I gotta try and get in, because
they're like, this is the worst driver ever. He's like forcing us to listen to this. I'm just making jokes. Okay, this is a book called, give me a second to put it in the chat for you. You don't have to look at it right now, but it'll be in the chat for you later. This is a very popular book on this stream. We talk about it a lot. We haven't talked about it recently, but this is a book by James Clear. It's called Atomic Habits, and this is kind of what we're talking about. It's like, you know, how do you take like how do you make little tiny commitments with yourself each day that build into these atomic explosive kind of results? I just put the link in the chat for you. I'm not telling you to buy this, but you can read about it. I put a Goodreads link in the chat for you, so you can read about it before you read it and decide if you want to read it. So it's there for you. But yeah, the Atomic Habits is a great, in my opinion, a great example of what we're talking about. Like, you're using these stepping stones to get where you want to be in life. And I would say no one, like, I would also say this, no one is where they want to be in life. No one. Not even Elon Musk. Look at him trying to buy Twitter. You know? Like, look at Jeff Bezos trying to get NASA to acknowledge Deep Blue, or whatever it's called, or, you know, Blue Origin. Sorry, Deep Blue is the IBM thing from chess. Look at Jeff Bezos trying to get recognition from NASA. Look at Elon Musk trying to get to Mars, trying to get, you know, Twitter to, like, accept a deal. Like, none of these people have done what they... Like, none of these people are done. None of these people are, like, have, like, retired, even though they could. The two people in particular I just mentioned very well could retire today and be fine for the rest of their lives. And and not only that, but they could fund their entire next 4 generations of life, at least. The point is, like, nobody fully... The moment you die, there are at least a handful of things that will be unfinished on the to-do list. So, like, none of us fully realize, in my opinion, at least the way I see things, none of us are going to fully, realize all the stuff we want to do in life. And that's part of the beauty of life. Is that life demands that we keep asking questions like you're asking. And you're asking a very relatable version of that question, which is like, how do I get from like this struggling, what I hear you saying is like, look, I'm just kind of like struggling to survive and I don't really feel like I'm enjoying life. I don't want to disregard that. You're saying like, how do I feel satisfied in this struggle of survival? And I would say to you, well, first of all, I would ask like, am I following in assuming that?
Repeat the question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, am I understand? I'm just trying to be careful that I'm not disregarding your question, because I went into some like very like extreme examples of like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. But I want to make sure that I'm like respecting your question, which is, it sounds like you're asking like, how do we enjoy life when we're struggling to survive? How do we find meaning or purpose or whatever you want to call it while life is a struggle? So it sounds like I'm tracking with you there. Is that right?
Yeah, no, I've not got an ounce of the fact that you're trying to disregard anything that I've said. I think that you're trying to come at it from a optimistic, which I personally like, perspective of the situation. So.
Yeah, I would say to you, have you identified the problems that are interesting to you?
I think that in general, the biggest problem is I know what I want to do, and I think that sometimes my ADHD severely gets in the way of me completing any of my tasks to do the things that I need to do.
Okay. Yeah, ADHD, that's like poor impulse control, inability to sit still, lack of focus, right?
Yep. I'm all of those things on the highest degree, so.
Are you familiar with Gabor Mate? In this, we just talked about it with a previous caller on this stream, but this is a book that's blowing my mind. Are you familiar with his work, Gabor Mate?
I'm not. I think I heard you talking about it. You had like a contrary way of addressing those situations.
That's right. Yeah, he has this book, The Myth of Normal. It's called The Myth of Normal: Trauma, Illness, and Healing in a Toxic Culture. And since you already, it sounds like you were listening for a bit earlier, I'll give you another tidbit that's amazing about this book. In the introduction, he spends some time talking about what is a toxic culture. It sounds like such a big assumption, but he puts it very simply in the introduction. He's like, look, what is a toxic culture? A toxic culture is what we call a petri dish in the lab that is eating itself. Which I thought was like, that just made my head explode. I was like, duh. Like, of course, like a toxic culture is a petri dish in a lab. It's like I haven't heard a reaction, but to me that's just hilarious. Maybe I'm not being clear. Yeah, I'm assuming you know what I'm saying. But to me that was just revolutionary. 100%. Like, it's a petri dish that's eating itself. Like, give me a break. Like, we think a toxic culture is like, it's Twitter, or it's like, the United States, or it's Russia or China, or, we like point all these fingers, but it's like, no, like a toxic culture is very simple. It's a bacterial dysfunction, at its simplest point. And the way he approaches trauma in this book is just like, I haven't finished it yet, but it's blowing my mind. And I've suggested reading it to at least a dozen people in the last month because I really believe he's onto something. There's another book also that I think goes hand in hand with that book. I think The Myth of Normal does a great job of describing trauma. And there's another book that I finished a few months ago called Existential Kink, which is written by Carolyn Elliott. She's a PhD psychologist, and in my opinion, these two books go hand in hand. In my opinion, people should read The Myth of Normal first. It's not an easy read. It's like 700 pages. But they should at least listen to the audiobook and then read Existential Kink, because Carolyn Elliott does a great job of describing how to not just understand trauma or your personal struggles with trauma, but how to actually embrace them and overcome them. which is a very powerful framework, I would say, Carolyn Elliott lays out in Existential Kink. I've put both of those links in the chat for you, The Myth of Normal and Existential Kink. I'm not sure what it is you need. I don't know you. I don't know your full story, but based on the things you're sharing, those are the two books that came to my mind. I've read both of these. I'm finishing The Myth of Normal still, but yeah, I'm hoping that those are on point for you. And I would just like, I'm glad you kind of pick up what I'm putting down here in terms of like reframing where you are instead of looking at where you are as like a negative. Like you're surviving, but you're not really thriving. I would say like, well, let's just, number one, celebrate that you're surviving, that you're not dead. And number two, let's celebrate that you have, it sounds like you have some comparative advantage to offer here. Comparative advantage is powerful. There are books written about comparative advantage. And for some reason, I've spent a lot of time in recent streams here talking about comparative advantage. I believe it's a really powerful tool against like depression, against feeling worthless, feeling like out of place, or like your life isn't going anywhere. Comparative advantage is really powerful. If you're not familiar with that term, maybe Google it and just like do some reading on comparative advantage. Very powerful. It's like these kinds of things can give us motivation for tomorrow, even when tomorrow looks really bleak. Understanding what you understand and carrying that into a bleak situation can be all of the difference. Yeah, you might be struggling. Yeah, you might be feeling like there's no tomorrow. But understanding what your comparative advantage is, in other words, understanding what you understand, it's one thing to understand something. It's another thing to understand the value of what you understand. It's a completely separate thing to understand how to communicate that to different people in a way that's valuable to them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm going too fast. I'm not trying to. I'm just kind of this is what we do.
No. I'm picking up on everything. I'm trying to engage my brain and absorb all of what is being said in a way that like I can come away from this and be like, here's the key points that I like want to pick up on and try and put down like in future regard.
Right. Yeah, I can't promise that I'll put this the best way possible, but I can promise you that tomorrow this stream will be up with the chat replay, and you'll be able to watch this with all of the contributions from the chat, which I've done a horrible job tonight getting to everything in the chat. But there are some things in here that might be valuable for you to read. So I'm partly apologizing for how I'm just like jaunting through this conversation. I hope any of this is landing what I'm saying, but like I just want to encourage you that like just to keep on keeping on and try to I would say to you, just to put it very succinctly, my single most concentrated thought to you would be maybe consider what problem it is that you want to solve. What problem is it that is actually interesting to you in the world? Like what problem is it? Like you solve a problem when you are driving people from point A to point B, but it's not the problem that really like interests you because it's a very simple problem. You seem like somebody who wants to answer very complicated problems. And so what are those problems that interest you? And how is it that you understand the answers to those problems? That's question number 2. And then what is it that you understand about communicating that understanding to others in a way that's valuable? And how can your solutions to these problems be constructive in a universal way? That's what I would say to you.
Well, I mean, do you want me to answer that question for you, or are you just imparting the knowledge?
They're rhetorical, but yeah, if you have answers, go for it.
So I mean, like I've always known a part of the entertainment thing. I mean, to be fair, I know this is somewhat of a parasocial relationship, but I watched you like when I was a freshman in high school, and I've kind of grown up with you and a sense of creativity with your videos that I kind of wanted to follow in suit with. The way that your characters that you brought to life were very similar to the way that I find creativity in some of the characters that I bring to life as well. And I find pleasure in the idea that I know that I've somewhat distracted someone from, I guess, kind of what I'm going through right now is that farce of feeling like I'm surviving and not necessarily living. And that has always been the huge motivator in my life of like, I want to be able to provide to people that release of like, life isn't just a big bag of doggy doo-doo. There's things to be excited about, and there's things to laugh about and be happy and cry and everything else like that. And I want to be a part of that thing that makes people feel emotions. And I think that the biggest thing that really gets to me sometimes, because, I mean, specifically in this situation, is like the biggest thing that gets to me is I feel like if I'm not providing that outlet that I've been doing for the past 6 or 7 years, I feel like I'm just kind of not doing anything with my life. And it's a big struggle.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm thinking of, to put it in the most extreme example I can think of, I'm thinking of Andy Dufresne from Shawshank Redemption. The man who had to crawl through 2 miles of shit in a pipe to escape a prison he didn't deserve to be in. I don't know if you know that movie, Shawshank Redemption, but it's one of my favorites. And he crawled through 2 miles of shit and came out clean on the other side. It's like it's not a, I got to be careful. Like, I'm not promising you that like these are just stories. Like, of course, like it would be like someone saying like, oh, I just want to get married, and me promising them, oh, well, you just gotta like find a fairy godmother to turn a pumpkin into a horse carriage and give you glass slippers, and then you're gonna leave one of them on the steps, and then like you're gonna find your perfect match. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like, I'm acknowledging where you are. I'm saying like, yeah, like I get it. Like you don't want to be here. You maybe shouldn't be here. Maybe it sounds like there were some external factors contributing to your being here that are frustrating. I fully get that. I understand that. Being in a place you don't want to be in. I get that.
Phone.
You are driving someone.
No, I just got to my girlfriend's house and she's trying to get me to come inside. That's my bad.
Okay. That makes me feel better. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's listening to us in an Uber or something like that. That got me. I'm so relieved it's just your girlfriend. Tell her you're on the air. That might buy you a little more time. My friend, I don't know what would make this a good call for you. I mean, I hear that you're struggling with where you are in life, and that you're looking for some hope. My hope to you, my suggestion to you, put simply, is that you just maybe spend some time meditating on what problems in the world interest you. I think that's like the best place to start. It may seem like a depressing place for a lot of people to start with the problem that you want to solve, but I really believe it's the only way to start anything. I mean, I'll use some unpopular examples that have been very successful. I've already mentioned Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, so I feel I'm safe in using them as examples again. Again, like, these are the two of the most successful companies ever. Jeff Bezos set out a couple decades ago to make books more accessible to people. He wanted books to be more accessible to people. And then Amazon was a huge success as a bookstore, an online bookstore. And then they were like, hey, what else can we simplify for people? And then they like simplified consumer goods, groceries, you name it. They bought Whole Foods. And like, Elon Musk is like looking at the problem of existential risk and like trying to get people to Mars. Like, my point is not to like glorify any of these people, because I know they're just people. But my point is, like, if you want to start a business, if you want to start, if you want to solve a problem, if you want to be If you want to do something you enjoy, it starts with a problem that interests you, that fills you up. What problem is it that you experience? In the writing world, people say, write what you know. If you're a screenwriter or a journalist, the most common advice you hear is write what you know. In other words, don't write about problems you have no solutions to. I mean, what do writers write? They write about problems. A story is problems, and then it's 3 acts and then a solution. That's what a story is. And a news article is a problem and some solutions at the end, some potential solutions at least. That's what all writing is. It's the same. That's what a business is. That's what a business does. They solve problems. So my point to you is like, maybe spend some time identifying what problems actually excite you, what problems actually seem approachable to you, and spend some time thinking about what you could approach based on your life experience and understanding. And we all have this. This is, again, comparative advantage. What is your comparative advantage? What problems can you solve effectively, efficiently, better than the person sitting next to you on the train? And how do you approach those in a way that is different from everyone else? And you won't get there tomorrow, I can promise you that. But you can keep doing what you're doing now. You're surviving. Again, I'm celebrating that. And then like one step in front of the other. Baby steps. How do you get there? But it starts with a problem. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. It starts with a problem. It starts with a very interesting problem. What's the problem that interests you? A lot of my early YouTube videos started with the problem of psychopaths. Like, I didn't fully know it at the time. I was very young, but like looking back, I'm like, yeah, like I was interested in writing about unstable people, and I just followed that. I didn't even know it at the time. I was very young, but like, look, that's literally how my YouTube channel started, was writing about unstable people, and it'll be different for everybody. That was my comparative advantage. It might still be. I don't know what my comparative advantage is anymore, but I'm trying to give you some examples because I want to be constructive, and I'm in your corner. I appreciate you calling in and sharing tonight. I don't want to keep you from your girlfriend. I don't want to get you broken up, but I appreciate you calling in. You can call again anytime, and I'm hoping this was a good call. Any lingering thoughts?
No. I mean, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and I guess everybody else who's in here. It takes a certain kind of person to actually want to like listen to people's problems and help in some kind of way genuinely. So I appreciate you, and like I said, I've been a huge follower of yours since very, very young, and I'm happy to see that you're still engaging with the community and doing other things outside of what was your norm. So
we appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much for being real here. I'm always relieved when a call is not a troll. So thank you for not being a troll, for being real. You asked interesting questions. I hope I had anything interesting to say. There's so much. I also want to just acknowledge again, there's so much good stuff in the chat that you should go through. We can't all be right, but that's what the beauty of this is. None of us are experts, but you can call in here, and it's like a forum. You can get other opinions and perspectives on where you are, and I hope any of it is useful to you. Please call again anytime, and best of luck at not getting abandoned tonight by your girlfriend because you ditched her for being on a phone call.
She's staring at me through the window right now. So
who is it? Who are you on the phone with? Who is she? Please tell her it was Juliet Smith.
I informed her, but I don't think I've indulged her enough on your content, and that's my fault.
Tell her. I'm hoping you tell her it's another woman named Juliet Smith. That would make my night. But don't do it. It's not worth it.
Not worth it.
Good night to you. Call again anytime.
All right, thank you.
Take care. All right, guys, we got about 20 minutes left in this stream. We really need to get to another call quickly because if we get to the 15-minute mark, I will not take another caller. It's not the end of the world if that happens. We're already kind of pushing the limits here on This is the hardest thing about this stream, is getting enough time for each caller. I don't know how long the calls are going to need to take. Sometimes we bend the rules slightly, very slightly, but we try to keep calls to about 30 minutes here. We're approaching 20 minutes till the end. I don't like getting into short calls because it's not enough time for us to get to anything substantive. And I'm kind of on the verge of winding the stream down early. It wouldn't be the end of the world. If that happens, I'll come hang out in the Discord server for a couple minutes to make it up to you guys. It always takes me a few minutes to wind down this stream. As I said, I'm already kind of on the verge of like, what should we do here? 20, now it's 18 minutes till the end of the stream, and I don't have a bunch of extra time tonight, so I'm admittedly a little on the fence about what to do here. But you guys have been awesome. I didn't get to much in the chat tonight. You know what? I am going to wind down the stream. Please do not call in. I'm going to wind it down early. I will come hang out in the Anonymous live server. Because I'm thinking like at this point now, 17 minutes. Actually, it would be less than that. It would be 15 minutes because it's going to take me a couple minutes to wind down the stream. And I hope that makes sense to you guys. None of this is easy. I do these streams twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific for roughly 2 hours. Sometimes a little longer than 2 hours. Sometimes a little shorter than 2 hours, but we are here. We're trying to do a community service here. In the best case scenario of this project, it will eventually become a nonprofit once we can afford to be one. I do nothing but like pour time and money into this project because I think it's important for people to have a place to talk like this. This is the kind of place I would have wanted years ago to share, and that's why I've created this place. It's not popular because it's not entertainment. And it's not entertaining, and it's not. That's not the point of it. The point of it is just like I'm a freaking payphone. You can just like pick me up and call me anonymously. I don't know who you are. I can't trace you. I can't call the police on you. And we try to just like make this place available to people. We have people confessing things here every week. We have people sharing things here that they wouldn't share elsewhere that are difficult things to share. And the reason we do this is to inspire people to be better friends to people, to enrich their own communities by providing this level of vulnerability. Like you can do this. You don't have to start a support group to just listen to a friend going through something difficult. You know, we want to show people how easy it is to just listen and understand and go there with people. It can be difficult to listen to people going through difficult things. But sometimes people need a place to talk about difficult things, and that platform can be all the difference, and that's what we do here. I want to also highlight again, Anonymous Live is moving to its own channel. This will be the last stream here on my main channel. Next time we do this on Thursday night, this Thursday night, it will be on the new channel. The link to that channel is in the video description. Please subscribe to that channel, because you won't see it here. You will be asking, where the hell did Anonymous Live go? Well, it went where exactly I just told you it went. So don't ask questions about that. I already told you. That's where it is. We do these streams twice a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. I will be in the Discord server. It is completely free to you to use. Join us there now for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'll be in there in the voice chat. We'll hang out for a couple minutes. And I appreciate you guys being here. I also want to thank our mods. I also want to acknowledge something. I will take 30 seconds to acknowledge that I've been horrible the last couple weeks at acknowledging our mods. I want to celebrate and welcome Ray Mag, one of our newest mods. Also, thank you, King's Pond, for being here, and Deanna Krebs. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here. Our mods are freaking awesome. We love our mods. Thank you for being here. They always keep us on track, and I'm honored to be part of this team. So thank you guys for being here. I'll see you Thursday, and I will see you right now in that Discord link that's in the video description. What are you waiting for? Join us. We're going to hang out for a few minutes. I will see you there. Good night, everybody.